Okay, next question is from Samara McAvale. What is your favourite tattoo that you have and why?
I think probably my Shirley tattoo is still my favorite because I've had it the longest. And the most recent one, which I'm not going to get into showing you, that I just got with the chicks, the original idea for the Apocalyptic Love cover, but it was just too suggestive to make a cover for Walmart, which unfortunately, happens to be the only valid record chain in America at the moment. So the original drawing was these two girls sitting on each other's laps and kissing and doing this whole thing. And so we sort of changed it a little to fit, the mainstream sort of. And so I did the original drawing that I did is on my chest. So I like that one.
Very good. All right, from Con Caravias, do you believe your playing skill came naturally to you, or was it due to the amount of time you have dedicated to playing/practicing?
That's a good question. Well, I feel like I was raised on so much rock and roll as a kid and really dug it that I developed a natural feel for it by the time I picked up the guitar. But, it's like when I first played, 4 or 5 notes, that was like a rock and roll lick. It was like, I've said this before, but it was like this heavens parted and that eureka moment, like, oh, yeah. And, and I feel like I had an aptitude for it, but in order to execute it, I had to practice and practice and practice and still practicing.
Really?
Well, still playing constantly. Yeah. Not the kind of practicing where it's like, I'm going to work on this exercise and perfect blah, 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 techniques, but just playing all the time. I find that playing and sort of flying by the seat of your pants in the moment, and having to perform spontaneously is way better practice than just sitting around with my guitar. I always find that when I play and sit around with my guitar, when I get up to go play live with somebody, whatever it was I was practicing goes out the window.
Right. Do you remember, what was the first riff that you learned?
What's that Chicago song, 26 or whatever, which one. Steve Adler taught it to me. That was the first thing I remember learning. But after that, I think it was, of course, Smoke on the Water, all that first timer stuff, Dazed and Confused, because my guitar only had one string. Right. So, but then I learned how to get more complex riffs on it. I learned how to play Back in the Saddle, A Whole Lot of Love, So then finally I learned how to put the other 5 strings on.
All right, question from Robert Whitson. When recording the Appetite and the Use Your Illusion albums, did any of the other guys have input/suggestions on what solos or riffs you played?
For Appetite?
Appetite and the Illusion albums.
One of the beauties of Appetite, it was just everybody doing what they do. We never edited or anybody else's stuff. So when we'd write the song, it would just go however we, like one of the beauties of that band is Izzy and I never worked out our parts. He played his thing, I played my thing, and that was it. So we go and we play that stuff live because we were sort of in the club thing at the time. And so by the time we went in to do the record, we just played the way that we did live.
Okay. And a question from Tom Smith. Tom Round? Doesn't seem to be, we'll ask it anyway. What role did Australian music...
He might have died, he's hot back then. I want to look for him,
How important was Australian music to your musical upbringing?
Pretty important. I mean, there wasn't a ton of Australian bands, but what was the Golden Earring? No, Angel City.
Angel City,
yeah. Yep. And then AC/DC, and then Rose Tattoo. Those were like the main ones that I remember growing up with. Yeah. And since then there's been a couple other ones, but. It's funny because I heard NXS on the radio today, and I was like, "Wow!" Because we played with them once.
When?
Dallas, Texas. We opened for them. It was the worst gig we ever did. No, for us personally, it was the very last show of the Appetite tour, right. And we've been on the road for 2 years, And we thought, oh, we'll just show up and do this thing. Cakewalk, no sound check. And we went out there and it was just such a different gig. It was this big stadium, and the sound was, you couldn't tell what anybody else was doing. And it started pouring rain. It was just one of these miserable gigs that we just sort of fell apart. We went on late, went off early. And then, like, 6 months later, somebody sent me a broken Appetite for Destruction cassette saying, I'll never listen to you guys again. I'll never forget that. Ultimate Spinal Tap.
That's it. Did you meet Michael Hutchence that night?
Oh, we not that night, but the night before.
Right.
He was holding court in the banquet room of the hotel, the restaurant, like this big colonial table, and he was at the end of it, and we were introduced, and I was fucking pissed, and I jumped on him. I was like, tried to beat him up. And they dragged me off of him and took me away. And that was the extent of our relationship. That was funny. Yeah.
And of course you've jammed with Rose Tattoo, but you also jammed with the Angels. Is that correct?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah.
Once here and once in LA.
Right.
Yeah, they were great.
This is another one from Con Caravias. You seem to always be doing something. Do you ever have any downtime? And if so, what do you do?
Get really stir crazy, thinking I'm supposed to be doing something.
Right.
There's always something to do, Like there's shit that needs to get taken care of that nobody else is going to take care of, and the longer you sit around, the more that nobody else is taking care of it. So I get very antsy.
Right. And is that true? That's actually how you got the nickname Slash. Is that correct? It was that's why it was given to you.
Busybody. Well, it's like. Seymour started calling me that. I didn't even know why he called me that till the 90s, right? So years and years later, I ran into him in a hotel in Europe somewhere, Belgium, and we had lunch or dinner or something. I said, so why do you call me Slash? Because anybody asks why Slash, and I said, I don't fucking know, And he said, because you're always, in passing. Right. And then I realized that when I'm hanging out and stuff, I don't like to just sort of sit and, if it's something specific, but just to shoot the shit and talk and hang out for a second, have a cup of coffee and just whatever. Yeah. I'm always people are always talking to my back, like I'm always moving on as quickly as possible. So, right. Yeah, I get it.
Right. Okay, Rebecca Sharp would like to ask, what would you like people to say about you on your 80th birthday?
Congratulations. Seriously.
That's it?
That's it. I need to say that for my next birthday.
Well, the next one's the big 5-0.
Seriously, it's like, someone was talking about age today, and I was like, I don't complain about it. I'm lucky to be here. Every time I hit, there was a period there where I remember thinking I was never going to make it to 21.
Right.
I thought, there's no way.
So 50 is when you get to 50 next year, that's quite the accomplishment.
Yeah.
From Con, what are you most proud of with your latest album, World on Fire?
I love the way it sounds. I actually just started listening to it last week because we finished it in May, and you have to get away from it. And then trying to go and listen to it, it's like something you just put off for as long as you can. And so I started listening to it when we were doing these club dates back in LA because we were doing some new songs we hadn't done, and I just wanted to refresh my memory. And it just sounds really great. I'm just really proud of what we've, as a group, as a writing team and as players and all that, what we've, where we've come from 2010 up until now. As opposed to being as good as we could possibly be and going downwards. Actually, it happens. Yeah. It's definitely something that's going to keep progressing. And I think we've leaps and bounds from where we were.
Yeah, nice one. We're actually about to wrap it up, so I don't know, Slash, if there's a message you would like to say to everyone who's here tonight. And
well, I'm really honored that you guys all showed up for this, and I'm really, really fucking excited to come here and play because it's been a little over a year now. So yeah, definitely. So that's about it, man. Just looking forward to coming here and jamming the new songs and all that stuff.
Excellent. Well, let's have a big round of applause for Slash. Thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it. Thank you to Slash.
Yeah, seriously, thanks you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right.
Slash is on the front cover of Rolling Stone, in stores tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Send a copy to my mother.